Howdy, welcome back to Daryl D TV. This is your host, Daryl D. That's me. Check this out. We're back with another Corben video. Another Richard Corben, or I should say, my Richard Corben comic collection so far. And this is a magazine edition as well as an all heavy metal edition, because I've been picking up a lot of those lately, and we're up to excuse me, we're up to part 16. Am I right on that? 16. Wow. If you've been following these Corben videos, then you know I've pretty much found every Corben book in comic book form, and now we're knocking out the magazines that he was featured in. Not actively, hard body looking for them, but when I come across them, then I grab them when I can. And this particular video, I picked up some really cool stuff today. Well, cool and reasonable at the same time. So I said, let me make a video and show you guys a few items that I found today, along with a few that I found, some time ago. Most comic book shops, they have their 50-cent boxes, or most of them have dollar boxes. Depending on where you are, you got some 50-cent boxes. Depending on where you are, you have a huge amount of 50-cent or dollar boxes that you can go through. A lot of dollar books, it's like, you kind of take chances on stuff, but 50-cent boxes, you don't even look twice, you just grab them. And I've even been in some places where they've had 25-cent boxes. Today I was at a local shop, and they have a pretty big selection of dollar books. One thing I've never seen before, not quite like this, but right next to all of their dollar books, which is what I would probably say is the equivalent of maybe 70, 80 long boxes. That's how many dollar books they had. But right next to the dollar books, they had like a short box, like a magazine box, and it was all $1 comic magazines, and they had a little bit of everything in there. So I grabbed a nice little stack of Conan. I followed that book, The Destroyer. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, about the American guy and the Asian karate expert, and they go on all these missions for the American government. I picked up a little stack, nice little stack of National Lampoon magazines that I'll be passing along. And I also picked up a nice little stack of heavy metal magazines. And do you know, every magazine, I think I picked up maybe 8 of them, 7 or 8. All of them just happen to be ones that featured Richard Corben, my favorite comic book artist. Most of them, there were only 3 that I didn't actually have already, and the other 4 I had already, so I'll be passing those along at some point. So I want to start off by showing you the 3 that I actually found today. It's not going to be a long video, because they are all kind of self-explanatory, things we've heard pretty much on a regular basis. But anyway, let's just go through them. This first one I want to show you is from, it's a December of 1977 magazine. Very familiar cover. I actually thought I had this one already, and it turns out that I didn't. So of course I was happy to find it. $1. They were all like, reader copies. Some were beat up and, kind of bashed around, thrown around or whatever, which is why they were in the dollar section in the first place. There's nothing like getting a cool comic magazine for $1. I'll take that all day. But this one was a Den story. We talk a lot about Den on this channel. If you know Richard Corben pretty well, then you know Den pretty well. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on the ins and outs of that story, of the Den story, because you guys already know about it. And if you don't, there's a crap load of videos here on YouTube that talk about it, including some of mine. I don't get as into that actual story as a lot of other guys, because quite frankly, I'm still in the process of reading Den. And matter of fact, the actual book, okay, I put it away already. I just started reading that, and I just found out that that's the second, how do you say it? That's the second coming of the Den stories. And the first one, the original Den stories, appeared in the Heavy Metal and some of the other earlier Corben books. So they've been the story has been recycled, probably a handful of times by now. So yeah, we won't get into all of that. I'll get more into the innards of the story later on if something like really jumps out. But we'll be talking a lot about some of these Corben books that I'll be reading in the future, because I have a lot to read. So yeah, this one is December 1977. It's your Den story, and this one was a book that I found, so I thought that was pretty cool. I'm gonna get a close up of that. Who's that? Like a evil Santa on a motorcycle or something? I don't know. Next up, we have the March 1978 issue of Heavy Metal. Let's get a little close up on that, because this cover is pretty cool. And again, Den is covered in this issue as well. Most of the stuff for that you're gonna see in Heavy Metal, not everything, but most of the Richard Corben material you're gonna see in Heavy Metal is gonna be the Den story. There are some other stories he did, but most of it is gonna be Den. So there you go, March 1978. This one was cool. I've seen this one before, and I knew I didn't have this one in the collection. This is July of 1978. Excuse me. This is a story that Corben did. It's called The Last Voyage of Sinbad. And this was another series, kind of long-running series that Corben did with Heavy Metal. It's been many years, like decades, since I've even read any of the Sinbad stories in Heavy Metal. So I can't tell you what happens in there. I can't speak much on that story. And now I have to actually see exactly in what issue of Heavy Metal did it start, so that when I do begin to read it, I can start from the beginning and then just move on from there. So this is the other story that Corben did, and those were Sinbad story. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. This next one is, what is this? This is July of 1979, and this is definitely a Corben cover. Get a little closer on that. I didn't even realize that until I looked at it real close, and I go, oh yeah, that is. And this story is the same Sinbad story. It's called The New Tales of the Arabian Nights. Sinbad and the last voyage of Sinbad. 79. What's cool about this book too is it has a story featuring Neil Adams, who's like way up there as far as favorite comic book artist, and it's got a story in there with Von Bodie, another artist that I'm a big fan of too. So to have all three of those guys in the same book is pretty cool. That makes this book mega cool just off of that. So yeah, another New Tales of the Arabian Nights, July 1979. All heavy metal today. Here we got March of 1979. Another Tales of the Arabian Nights story. This was another one I got from the dollar. I'm sorry, I've been going so fast. Those first three, that was a different store though, but that was a dollar book. That was a dollar book. And the first one I showed you was a dollar book. These are the three that I actually found today. And like I said, like they got some issues with them. There's a little thing down there. Where was the other? I think there's one where the cover was kind of coming apart from the staples. So, but you know me, I like those reader copies anyway. You're not gonna see me paying any kind of crazy money just to read something over and over again. But anyway, back to this one, March 79. This is just another Sinbad story. Let's get a little closer look at that picture. Only the one so far has had Corben on the cover art. So these are other artists that you're seeing here. This was another one that this was January 1978. And what I thought was cool about this one was it had these cool ads. I want to show you this one ad. I have another copy here, so I don't have to take that one out of the bag. And if you followed any of my other Corben videos, you know that I've shown a lot of slow death videos, the slow death videos featuring Corben. And there's an ad right there for all of these underground comics. And you can see all of the slow death stuff. So it's so cool to see these old ads from books that you're like really into from back in the day. And I wish I could get these books for, let's see what they're charging for these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slow death books for $6. $6 for 6 comics. That ain't bad. So let's put that one down there. But yeah, this cool ads for this Corben. January of 78, right? All right. The next one I want to show you is from October of 1978. This one is also New Tales of the Arabian Nights. Corben did the art, but the writer was this individual by the name of Jan Stranad. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation of her name, Jan Stranad, but she's the writer of that book. This is another book too that had some cool ads in it. I've filmed a lot of videos about underground comics because that was a lot of books. When I was looking for a lot of the Richard Corben books, you know, it was just easier to ask different shops if they carried any underground books. And So looking through those books, looking for the Corben books, I got real familiar with just a lot of underground titles. Some of them I had seen in the past, but I didn't know exactly what they were until recently, last couple years. So I've been buying those, and my collection is pretty big, and you've even seen some claim sales. But this particular issue right there in the front, check this out. It had this ad for all these underground books. Man, there's some of everything in there. You got Von Bodie, you got Crumb, you got Corben, you got the Freak Brothers. You know, it's some of everybody in these ads. And let's see what this stuff was going for back in 1978. Wow, so all of these lots, all of these little groups of comic books, I think the first one was $5.50. You're talking about Nard and Pat, Two Fools, Fat Freddy's Cat, Mr. Natural, Ripoff. The second one featuring Dr. Atomics and Freak Brothers, Dope and Dan, is $6.25 for that whole lot. Then you got a lot of Zap Comics, Young Lust, some Corben stuff, $7.20. And then this last one with Subvert, Slow Death, some Bodie, Chetch Wizard, Young Lust, Fat Freddy's Cat, and Mr. Natural. That lot of 6 comic books was going for $5.50. Wow. Very cool. Check out this old Animal House ad. Man, these old ads are so cool. They're really cool. It's like stepping back in time. This cover is super weird. Speaking of covers, I've been seeing this on a lot of these covers. I'm not really sure what this is about. But see this little thing down in the corner? It looks like it's written in French. What is that? I don't know what that is. Could this, you know, what is that? It looks like it's French, but I have no idea what that little square is down there. And that's on, like, not all of these, but like half of the books I've shown got that little thing down in there. Somebody help me out with that one. All right. Okay. One more book I want to show you out of this lot. This is from February 1979. This is another Sinbad story. The new tales of what was the story called? New Tales of Arabian Nights. And you know what I noticed about this book too? Like, all of these books that I showed you feature that artist who simply went by Morbius. You guys know who that is. If you're familiar with heavy metal, you definitely know who that is. Never was into that guy's art. Super sci-fi weirdo monster, space monster type of, you know, weird stuff. But man, I don't think anybody was featured in heavy metal as much as that guy was. And he had the weirdest stuff out there, but people obviously loved him for him to make so many appearances in heavy metal. In this particular book, he's actually in there twice. He's got 2 stories in there. So once I saw how much he was featured, I was always wondering, was there ever a book that Corben appeared in twice? There's definitely some where he did the cover and then a story inside, or one of the 2. But so far I've never seen him in one issue of heavy metal more than once in the issues that he was actually in. So this one is pretty cool. I kind of flipped through it. I'm really looking forward to this Sinbad story, because I was like a big fan of the old Sinbad movies from back in well, I saw him back in the 70s as a kid. So I'm really looking forward to this story, and it's kind of refreshing too to know that Corben did more than Den, you know, when he did his stories in Heavy Metal magazine. So yeah, I want to make a quick video, show you those real quick. That's my latest batch of Corben magazines, or magazines that feature Corben. This was my all heavy metal episode of that, so I hope you were digging that. On the next video, we're going to have a variety of books from all over the place. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to try my best to read as many of those as possible before I actually shoot the video. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll just have to run with it and see what happens. But anyway, thank you for joining me for my latest Richard Corben comic book collection. So far, part 16, I hope I got that right. Part 16, this is not only another magazine edition, but this is the all heavy metal edition. Till next time, you guys stay safe. Peace and love.